Hello and welcome to the Rockbridge Reports on the Record. I'm Corey Smith, and here with us today is Lexington Mayor Mimi Elrod. Mayor Elrod, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for asking me to be here. I'm delighted.
Let me start by asking you about the city's downtown enhancement plan. The plan has reached City Council now. Where does it go from here?
It has reached City Council. First it went to the Planning Commission, just to back up, and they endorsed it or accepted it. And then City Council at our last meeting accepted the plan. It will go now to our staff members, to our city manager and other people who work closely with him, and they will sort of sort out what can be done and when it can be done and prioritize what the plan includes. So that's going to take some time to do, but that's where it is now. It's sort of in their hands.
I understand that there was a little bit of debate with the language. This council voted to accept the plan instead of fully endorse it. What does that mean?
I think that there were several reasons why that happened. The first of which was that some people on City Council felt if we endorsed the plan that we would be committed to doing everything in the plan. Actually, that's not the case. Endorsing the plan would be endorsing the concept. And as Michael Zahner said, if you don't endorse the plan, if you don't have a plan, you're never going to move forward. And he was very convincing in that, I thought. And then other people had hesitations about some of the specifics in the plan. They might have not liked one thing as opposed to the other. And so again, they didn't want to use the word endorse. They thought that was too strong. So I think they were saying, we accept the plan, it's in our hands now, City Council's, and then we'll do with it. And what we did with it was to pass it on to staff for the meantime.
You are part of the steering committee for the plan. Why is the downtown enhancement plan beneficial for the city of Lexington?
Well, our downtown is a lovely place. It's got a lot of wonderful features, but there's some things that just need to change in my view, if we're going to attract younger people to our city. You can't have a city sustain itself if everyone is retired. And that's not the case now, but we want to prevent that. But the city is not, there are many places where it's not ADA compliable. We have people who want to come downtown who are in wheelchairs and they can't go down our sidewalks. I don't know if you've ever walked down you've walked down our sidewalks, I'm sure. But there are places where if you're walking 2 by 2, someone has to step into the street. If you're trying to push a baby buggy, you can't get down the street. So that was one issue, is really making the sidewalks more user-friendly. And all of us are pedestrians at one time or another. If we're downtown, we get out of our cars and walk. That was one thing. Being more bikeable was another thing that came up. In addition, the town, it's lovely, and we're so fortunate that the historic buildings have been preserved and not torn down like they have in many other cities. But on the other hand, some of them are looking a little dowdy, and they need to be repainted, or they're just things that are downtown that make one say, well, it just needs some rejuvenating, a facelift, so to speak. And so those were some of the issues, and all of that has played out in various ways in terms of the 25 specifics that were adopted. But those are things that come to my mind. Also, there's research that shows that the more walkable your downtown is, the more likely you are to have people stop and shop and not just go to one place, but move through the downtown and go into stores that they might otherwise not have. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So what parts of the plan do you think the city could implement quickly?
Well, part of that is going to depend on the funding that we can find, because we're going to have to get grants to do this. We more or less have pledged that we will not raise taxes to implement this plan. But you might, one of the ideas that came out of this from our consultants was that we need to go on a sign diet. And we have parking signs more frequently than we need them. And so you drive downtown and you see these parking signs, 2-hour parking, 2-hour parking, in very close proximity. And so one of the things that we could do that's sort of what people would call low-hanging fruit is we can clean that up. That won't cost a lot. If money becomes available to underground some of the wires that are downtown, we have a lot of overhead wires down here in Lexington, and if grants become available to do that, then that would be something we could do. We need to repaint our light post, and this would be sort of a surface thing, but something that would make the downtown look better. When we can widen the sidewalks and when we can do some of the more extensive things, that will come over time.
Do you feel every step of the plan will be implemented someday in the future?
No, I don't, to be perfectly honest. One of the suggestions that the consultants made, and this is just an example, and not everybody on council might agree with me, but they thought that we needed restroom facilities, and so they suggested putting a bathroom of some sort, not a porta-john, but something equivalent, but nice looking, in our courthouse square. And another place that was suggested was Hopkins Green. People aren't, the responses that I've heard of the reactions to that are, no, we do not want something that's a small facility in either of those places. I don't think anyone is ever going to want a bathroom near whatever their place of business or where they spend time. So that's one thing that I don't think will ever be done. I don't know, but I don't think it will.
There was a 26th idea added recently that addresses parking in the city. What do you think of that new idea?
I think it's something that we should think about, that we should work on. It's parking in McCrum's, to make the McCrum's parking lot. McCrum's is no longer there, but everybody refers to it as McCrum's parking lot. And the parking area behind Wholesale, behind Blue Sky Bakery, sort of down in that hole. Those properties, the city will have no money to develop those. If someone comes along and they can develop it, that would be wonderful. But it's not going to be, it is included in the plan now, but it's not something that the city is going to take responsibility for doing.
So moving on to the decision to add back parking spaces to Washington Street.
Yeah.
Is that decision the right one, to not add all the previous spaces available?
Well, the merchants that are on Washington Street between Main and Randolph were very, very eager to get those places back. And if you think about it, on that side of on that side of Washington, it's stores, it's retail or restaurants. On the other side, there's a big space where Grand Furniture is that's really not, it's sort of a wall. And then there's some other businesses that are not retail oriented. I think it would be, we could take the parking off on that side of the street. I can understand the merchant's point of view. They want the parking back, and we're used to, in this city, parking right in front of the store in which we want to visit, and we may need to get over that. But it certainly made the streetscape more attractive by not having that parking there.
Now, recently Michael Zena resigned as planning director for the city. How will the downtown enhancement plan be affected with his resignation?
Well, I think he became very interested in the downtown plan, and he did such a good job while he was with us, and I'm very sorry that he's not with us anymore. But I think he would have endorsed it. He would have helped us find a reasonable way to get some of those ideas implemented, and without someone to sort of push that along, it's going to be harder to get it done. And everyone in City Hall has more work than they can really do. We need more staff, but Michael was wonderful about that, and I hope it will proceed without him, but it's not going to be as easy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think his leaving will change council's opinion on parts of the plan, any elements within the plan?
Only to the extent that because he's so clear and precise about things. If there was something that city council said, I'm not sure we need to do that, he probably would have found very good reasons to support doing it. And they could have been economic development, they could have been helping the merchants. I mean, it could have been a variety of things, but he was very good about putting everything together and looking at the whole and helping us move forward in that way.
Finally here, is there any pressure to act on any parts of the plan sooner rather than later?
I think people would really like to get the wires off the street on Jefferson, but that's a very unattractive thing. And also it makes, it causes more poles to be on the sidewalks down on Jefferson. I think that's probably something that people think about a lot, and just making the downtown a little bit more attractive. I think there are a lot of people that would like more outdoor dining, and that's one of the things that we were hoping could happen based on this plan. Trees, park benches in front of restaurants and that sort of thing. And those might happen sooner rather than later because they're not overly expensive. And I know some people are interested in donating benches to the downtown, which is very nice, very helpful.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Mayor and Mimi Elrod, thank you for taking the time to meet with us here today. For the Rockbridge Report, I am Corey Smith.